camera feed showed my hallway, but what moved in it wasn't human. My phone was off. It buzzed anyway. One clean vibration, sharp enough to cut through the dark and pin my chest to the mattress. Not the phantom kind, not nerves, not imagination. Real. I didn't move. I lay there staring into the ceiling I couldn't see, waiting for the sound to explain itself. It didn't. The nightstand buzzed again. 2 short pulses this time, close together, like something checking whether I was paying attention. That was when my body understood something my mind hadn't caught up to yet. I reached for the phone. The screen was black, no glow, no lock screen, no battery icon, dead glass in my hand. Then it vibrated. I swallowed, pressed the power button, and felt nothing happen. I held the button down longer, thumb digging into the edge until it almost hurt. Still nothing. And yet inside the casing, beneath the glass, beneath the plastic, beneath all the things I understood, there was that uneven pulse again. Slow, offbeat, almost organic. The screen flickered. The logo appeared weakly, sketching the room in thin white lines, the nightstand, the bed frame, the closed bedroom door across the room. The loading bar crawled forward like it didn't want to. When the home screen finally appeared, my eyes went straight to the notification. One new message, 2:17 a.m. The exact minute I'd felt the first vibration. I opened messages. The sender line tightened something behind my ribs. Unknown number, no name, no photo, no country code. The preview showed a single line. "Are you awake?" I didn't answer. Before I could even decide whether I wanted to, the typing bubbles appeared. Slow, deliberate, like whoever was on the other end was choosing the rhythm as much as the words. Another message arrived. "Stay in your room." The phone vibrated harder this time, as if it didn't trust me to read. The bubbles returned almost immediately. "Do not open the door." My eyes drifted to the bedroom door. It was closed, exactly as I'd left it. The handle caught a dull strip of moonlight from the window and reflected it back like a blind eye. I typed with stiff fingers, "Who is this?" The reply came instantly, "You don't own the device I'm using." A cold prickle ran along my arms. Another message followed. "The hallway isn't empty anymore." And finally, only then, my mind caught up with what my body had known from the first buzz. I hadn't left the phone on silent. I hadn't forgotten to charge it. I hadn't dozed off with it in my hand. I had turned it off myself. I remembered the pressure of my thumb on the power button, the screen fading, the faint click as the device went dead in my palm. I'd set it face down on the nightstand because I'd learned that even the idea of a notification could keep me awake. The room felt too quiet now, not peaceful, staged, as if the house was holding itself perfectly still so something could move without being noticed. The phone buzzed again. "Don't speak." I didn't. I backed out of messages and opened my Apple ID device list. 3 entries, my iPhone, my MacBook, my watch, then a 4th, sitting at the bottom like it had always belonged there. Device 02, location, unavailable, model, unknown. My pulse climbed into my ears. I tapped it. The screen hesitated, then loaded as if it were doing me a favor. Status, active. My throat tightened. I only owned one phone. A soft sound came from the hallway. Not a step, not a creak. A slow, dry drag, like fabric pulled carefully over carpet. My skin prickled along the back of my neck. The hair on my arms rose without permission. The phone buzzed. "It's close to the door." I stared at the handle again. It didn't move, but the air around it looked thicker. Not mist, not shadow. Something denser than the darkness behind it, as if the space on the other side had weight. I typed, keeping my movements small. "How do you know?" The reply came with no delay. "I can see it." A file appeared beneath the message. Device 02, live feed, 0 viewers. My thumb hovered over it. didn't want to open it. Not because I thought it would be fake. Not because I thought it would be a prank. There was something worse than fear sitting under my ribs. Expectation. Like part of me already knew what was waiting. The phone vibrated again, harder. Open it now. I tapped the feed. The video opened. For a second, all I saw was grainy darkness, gray noise, like the camera couldn't decide what it was looking at. Then the image steadied. A hallway stretched forward, dim and narrow. The camera angle was low, inches above the carpet. The walls looked too close together. The far end looked too far away. It was my hallway, but not quite right. The crooked picture frame was there. The small scuff mark near the baseboard was there. The half shadow near the ceiling light was there. And still, the space felt stretched, like a familiar room seen in a dream. The camera moved, not a smooth pan, a drag, as if the device was being pulled along the carpet by something that didn't bother lifting it. My stomach tightened. A shape was pressed against the wall just outside my bedroom door. At first, it looked like shadow. Then it shifted. Not stepping out, not stepping away. It slid, flattening itself against the paint as if the wall were the only thing keeping it stable. Its edges rippled softly, never fully in focus. The phone vibrated sharply in my hand. Don't breathe loud. The shape tilted upward. Something like a head, but too long, too narrow, angled wrong. It paused near the door frame, as if listening through the wood. I felt my throat close. I hadn't made a sound, but on the feed, the shape leaned closer. A new message dropped in. It reacts to awareness. My mouth went dry. I typed carefully. What is it? The typing bubbles appeared. They stopped, then started again. Then the answer arrived. Not human, not finished. The hallway camera dragged forward another inch. The grain shifted as the lens got closer to my bedroom door. The shape moved with it, staying pressed to the wall, and then it did something that made my blood turn cold. It began to adjust itself, not changing position, changing proportion. Its outline pulled taller, subtly at first, then more confidently, as if it were trying to remember how high a person should be. The phone buzzed. It's aligning to you. The door handle twitched, just once, a fraction of an inch. Then it stopped. I froze so hard my muscles ached. On the feed, the shape went still, listening. The phone vibrated one last time, soft but urgent. Don't open the door. Don't look through the gap. Don't let it see you move. The live feed shook slightly, as if the device on the carpet had been nudged. The camera pointed up, just a touch, toward the bottom seam of my bedroom door, and for a fraction of a second, in the thin darkness beneath it, I saw something pass by. Not feet, not a shadow, a smooth, pale surface, sliding where no body should fit. Then the hallway went still again. And inside my room, in the silence, I felt the air change, like the house had just made space for someone else to breathe. I didn't move, not because I was brave, because my body had chosen stillness as the only thing it trusted. Every muscle held tight, as if a single twitch might crack whatever thin barrier still existed between my room and whatever waited outside. The phone buzzed once. Stay exactly like that. I stared at the live feed. The hallway camera was still low to the carpet. The shape was still pressed against the wall beside my door. Its outline looked faintly different now, taller, narrower, more confident in its angles, as if it had decided what it wanted to be. A slow sound rose in the silence. Tap, tap, tap. Not from the door, from the wall. The shape's hand, if that word even applied, lifted and touched the paint lightly, testing the surface the way a person tests glass to see if it will give. The phone buzzed. It checks boundaries. The shape moved again, not stepping away from the wall, sliding along it, inch by inch, until it was directly in front of my door. Its outline wavered like heat above a road. Then it stopped, listening. I became aware of my breathing again, of how loud it felt in the quiet, of how the slightest swallow made my throat click. The phone vibrated sharply. "Don't swallow." My stomach dropped, as if it could hear the smallest internal movement, as if it was already attuned to the idea of me, even through wood and darkness. I typed, keeping my thumbs light on the screen. "Why are you doing this?" The reply came after a pause that felt measured. "Because it's not supposed to be here, and neither are you, like this." My blood cooled. "What does that mean?" The typing bubbles appeared. They didn't rush. They didn't hesitate. They simply formed, steady as a heartbeat. It followed a signal, a shape, a record. The hallway feed twitched. The camera dragged forward again, just a fraction, the lens scraping the carpet softly. Then I understood something that made my skin crawl. The camera wasn't being pulled by the shape outside my door. The camera was being pulled from behind it. The phone buzzed. "Don't think there's only one." A slow pressure filled the air in my room. Not a breeze, not movement, weight. Presence near the corner of my vision, like someone standing just out of sight. I didn't turn. I didn't even shift my eyes. On the hallway feed, a second distortion moved at the far end of the corridor, near the living room. A darker patch of darkness, a wrongness in the light. It slid forward, hugging the ceiling line as if gravity didn't apply to it the same way. My chest tightened. The phone buzzed. "That one is the reason I'm texting you." I stared at the screen until my eyes burned. "Where is device 02? The answer appeared instantly. "On the floor, outside your room, where it can see what's coming." The hallway camera jolted, then angled upward slightly. For a moment, I saw my bedroom door as it looked from the hallway, closed, ordinary, familiar. Then the shape in front of it leaned in. Not like a person leaning, like a surface folding. Its head pressed close to the wood, and the outline of it blurred as if it were trying to push part of itself through the seam. The phone buzzed. "It doesn't need the handle. It needs a match." My mouth went dry. Match to what? The typing bubbles appeared slowly, uneven. "To your outline, to your attention, to the idea that you're here." The sound of dragging returned. Not outside, inside. A soft scrape on the carpet near my bed, like something shifting just out of sight. The phone buzzed sharply. "Don't look behind you." A cold spike of panic tried to climb my spine. I swallowed it down. My eyes stayed on the screen. On the hallway feed, the second distortion near the living room moved closer. It flowed down the hall in a smooth glide, keeping to the upper corner where wall met ceiling. And as it approached, the first shape, by my door, stilled completely, like it was waiting for instruction. The phone buzzed. "The one at your door is learning you. The one behind it is learning how to enter," I typed. "How do I stop it?" The reply came slower. "You don't stop it with force. You stop it by taking away the thing it needs." The hallway feed flickered briefly, and for a split second the image looked clearer, as if the camera's focus snapped into place. In that clarity, I saw something I hadn't before. The shape's surface wasn't solid darkness. It was layered. Thin sheets of shadow overlapping, sliding over each other like pages turning. Each layer adjusted by fractions, trying to settle into a human silhouette. The phone buzzed. "It's building you. Out of what it remembers." "Remembers from where?" This time, the reply came fast. "From the last time you were alone. From the last time you were afraid. From the last time you watched the hallway and waited." A cold pressure tightened in my chest, because I understood what that meant. This wasn't the first time I'd laid in bed at night staring at my door, half convinced someone or something was outside. I'd done it 100 times, in childhood, in grief, in sleepless nights after nightmares I couldn't explain. I'd fed the hallway my fear for years, and now something was using it as a blueprint. The phone buzzed. "Don't let it know you recognize it." The handle twitched again. This time it didn't stop immediately. It turned slightly, as if a hand were testing it from the other side. The door didn't open, but the wood gave a small complaint. A creak, the first sound in the room that felt like a boundary breaking. The hallway feed shook as if the camera had been bumped. Then the live feed split again on its own. 2 angles. One still showed the hallway, the other, my bedroom. The view was low, near the floor, like someone had set a camera down at the foot of my bed, pointed upward, toward me. My throat closed. The phone buzzed. It's already inside the boundary. I stared at the second feed. My bed, my nightstand, my silhouette sitting rigid and still. And behind my silhouette, a shape. Not fully defined, not wearing a face, just a tall smudge of darkness standing too close, leaning toward my shoulder like it was studying the rise and fall of my breathing. The phone vibrated sharply in my palm. It's matching your posture. The air behind me warmed slightly. Body warmth, not comforting warmth. A presence close enough to share heat. I didn't turn. On the hallway feed, the first shape pressed harder against the doorframe. The second distortion near the living room moved closer, sliding down from the ceiling corner, lowering toward the floor as if preparing to enter the human space. The phone buzzed again. If you turn around, you give it your full outline. My pulse hammered. Then what do I do? The typing bubbles appeared. They held. Then the answer arrived, calm and ugly. You stay still. And you let the phone die. I stared at the words. Let the phone die. It felt like being told to let go of the only light in a room that wasn't a room anymore. My grip tightened around the device. My palm was damp. The glass felt too cold. The phone buzzed again. Don't argue. Don't negotiate. Don't ask why. You keep your eyes forward. You keep your breath shallow. And you let it lose interest. A slow creak came from the door. Not the handle this time. The wood itself, as if something were pressing its weight against it, testing the structure, learning how much pressure it could apply before the boundary failed. On the bedroom feed, the dark shape behind me leaned closer. I saw it in the screen, not with my eyes, with the camera. A slow incline, like a person bending to whisper. The air behind my neck warmed again. My skin broke out in goosebumps. The phone buzzed. It wants your attention more than it wants your body. Attention completes the pattern. On the hallway feed, the shape at my door did something careful. It lowered, not crouching, flattening. Its outline compressed until it was no taller than the gap beneath the door. And then it began to slide. Not under the door, there wasn't room, but toward it. As if it were trying to become thin enough to fit. My stomach dropped. The phone buzzed. Don't look at the gap. I wanted to. Every part of me wanted to watch the seam, to see proof, to catch the moment the impossible happened. That hunger for proof was the same hunger that kept people watching horror videos all the way to the end. And it was the same hunger this thing needed from me. The bedroom feed shifted slightly. The camera angle changed, as if someone had nudged it. The view lifted, just enough to show more of my bed, more of my silhouette. And behind it, the dark shape's front surface reflected a faint glow, like a screen catching light, like it was learning what I looked like not just in outline, but in detail. The phone buzzed. It's copying your breathing. The warmth at my neck pulsed in time with my inhale. I kept my eyes on the phone, on the feeds, on anything that wasn't the real space behind me. The battery indicator in the corner of the screen dropped. 9%, 8%. The phone buzzed again. Don't plug it in. A ridiculous instruction, except my charging cable was on the nightstand and my hand had already started to drift in that direction without thinking. Habit. The way we reach for fixes we don't understand. I stopped myself. The hallway feed flickered. The second distortion, the one from the far end, was close now, near the picture frame, near the small scuff mark on the wall. It lowered itself to the floor in a smooth glide, compressing into a shape that could exist at human height. It stopped behind the first shape, like a supervisor, like a teacher watching a student attempt a task. The phone buzzed. It learned this from something older. My throat tightened around an unasked question. The bedroom feed showed the dark shape behind me raising something that looked for a second like an arm. It wasn't an arm. It was a long, tapering extension of shadow, narrowing into a point. It hovered above my shoulder like a finger about to tap. My heart hammered so hard my ears hissed. The phone buzzed, a hard, sharp vibration. Don't flinch. The point descended, slow, not touching, hovering just above my skin as if it were waiting for permission to complete the gesture. The air above my shoulder prickled, a pressure like static electricity. The battery dropped again. 5%, 4%. My jaw ached from clenching. On the hallway feed, the shape at the door stopped flattening. It rose again, taller now, more certain. And in that motion, I saw it clearly for the first time. Not a monster, not claws, not teeth. A silhouette that was becoming familiar, shoulders aligning, head angle adjusting, height correcting, a human outline built from wrong materials. The phone buzzed. It's almost close enough to be believed. That line scared me more than anything, because belief was contagious. If it could look like a person, then my brain would start treating it like one. And the moment my brain treated it as real, it would be. The battery indicator slid to 2%. The phone buzzed again. When the screen goes dark, don't wake it again. My thumb hovered over the power button reflexively. I forced it away. 1%. The feeds froze. Both images held still. Hallway and bedroom locked in place like a paused film. The phone vibrated once more, not urgent, almost gentle. This is the last thing. Don't check the device list in the morning. My stomach tightened. Then the screen went black. No low battery icon, no shutdown animation, just dead glass again. The room didn't immediately change. The air behind me stayed warm. The pressure stayed. The mattress didn't dip. Nothing dramatic happened. And that was worse. Because it meant the thing didn't need theatrics anymore. It didn't need my phone. It had my attention. I kept my eyes forward. I focused on the dark outline of my door, on the faint moonlight on the handle, on the simplest truths I could cling to. Breathe in, breathe out, don't turn. Minutes passed, or seconds. Time felt loose. Then, very softly, something in the hallway made a sound. Not a drag, not tapping. A sound like someone exhaling through their nose in quiet amusement. A human sound, a practiced sound. The door handle moved, not twitching, not testing, turning with confidence. The latch clicked. The door opened a fraction. I didn't look at the gap. I stared at the door itself, at the flat plane of wood, and I held still so hard my muscles burned. The air in the room cooled. The warmth at my neck receded, as if whatever had been behind me had stepped back, or finished. The door opened a little more. A thin line of hallway darkness appeared. No light spilled in, no shadow fell, just a seam of black. And in that seam, a voice whispered, so close it felt like it came from inside my own skull. "Are you awake?" The exact words from the first message. My throat closed. I didn't answer. I didn't move. The door stayed open. The silence stretched. Then the seam of darkness withdrew. The door closed again, slow and careful, until the latch clicked back into place. The room remained still. I stayed still. I did not sleep. When the first gray light of morning finally bled through the curtain, I sat up with movements so small they felt borrowed. The house looked normal. The door was closed. The hallway beyond it, when I finally forced myself to look, was empty. The carpet lay undisturbed. The picture frame was still crooked. The scuff mark was still there. My phone was dead. I told myself that was all it had been. A glitch, a nightmare with extra steps, a nervous system running on fumes. Then I opened my device list. 3 entries, my phone, my laptop, my watch. And below them, device 02, location, unavailable, model, unknown, status, active. My stomach dropped. I didn't touch it. I stared at it until my eyes hurt. Then, as if it sensed the attention, the entry refreshed. Device 02 stayed, but a new one appeared beneath it. Device 03, location, unavailable, model, unknown, status, active. My phone, still dead, buzzed once on the table. A single clean vibration, sharp, exact. And from the hallway, just beyond the bedroom door, something shifted its weight, slow and deliberate, like a person deciding how to stand, as if it was trying to remember how tall I am now.